All right, guys, we got 2 more Indonesian Mentawai videos left for you guys. I didn't really explain in the last one because the order got messed up, but we are out for our second trip now. We took the first one with all the boys, and then we had the opportunity to jump on another one back to back. And this place, the Mentawai specifically, is the dream of dreams. It is every surfer's life goal to experience such perfection in such tropical paradise, the way that the wind and the swell hits every single angle of every island. There's always somewhere to go, and we're always on the Wildcat because they are just the most down to send it boat that there is in the Ments. Jason is such a legend, and he's always down to make the call and make the commitment to go somewhere else if it's not as good, and to have a boat that actually has that mindset, and then to be loaded up with a crew of chargers that has the same mindset is insane. And this crew was legendary. But I got to give one shout out to the main homie. This dude straight quit his job to honestly go snowboarding in Japan this winter, but over a year ago made the plan, booked the Mentawai trip to come with us, all because of the videos that he's seen in the past and everything that I've kind of showed about how amazing the trip is, not even just for surfing, just for existing. And so this homie Rick had never even surfed before, never caught a wave, and it's almost impossible to find a nice, friendly beginner wave to learn how to surf in the Ments, but he gave it his go at a couple gnarly waves. He tried to surf bank vaults on a proper head-high barreling day, got scared, and took a couple days off until we found a wave on a down day. I had never surfed it before, but it seemed like it was possible, and he paddled out on his own. I saw randomly that he was out there and decided I was going to go try to give him a little help and some boost, a little push, try to break down how the waves work, where the reef is, why it's actually safer to sit further out than it is sitting on the inside, because although the waves are bigger, it's deeper and you still have time to like get out of the way and get into the channel, but it's this mental game. And we ended up actually, after a little while, pushing him into a proper one, because just riding the wave in the beginning, like boogieing a wave and being able to turn and go left will get you away from the reef. He gave it his best attempt to pop up, and then I think realized that it's a gnarly zone. It's time to lock in, and homie straight MVP this thing all the way inside over the reef. Had booties on, thankfully, so he was good, but straight up got dry docked, and I would say technically surfed a wave in the Ments. So huge shout out to the homie Rick for literally making his dreams come true. I'm so grateful that he came and joined us on this trip. We had a couple down days. The trip started off pretty proper. In the last video that you saw, we were getting barreled with Coco Ho and Paradise, and after that, it's kind of like when there's not big swell and you're with a bunch of hunters, even if it's like a foot or 2 tall and there's some wind and stuff, it's hard to find the motivation, especially when you've been surfing 5-6 hours a day for 10-15 days in a row. So we do some fishing, we do some diving, we just enjoy our time in the middle of the Mentawai Islands, just exploring and just taking it all in, seeing some of the locals, seeing some of the culture, and eventually when the itch gets too strong, we do end up paddling out. So we have some bangers here for you guys, from a small mushy little left-hander, and then it just gets bigger and it gets better, and we start surfing some proper big waves. We got like 3 days mashed up together here, and I will do another midday breakdown once we're halfway through this, but enjoy the clips to come. Mentawai, second to last video, trip number 2 of 2025 Wildcat Surf Charters.
Oh, yes! Oh boy. Get up, big dog! Oh, ride it, ride it, ride it! Get up! Oh, we're bail, bail. Yeah, get off, I'll go. I don't want to be in there, bail. Oh no. Look at Casey, he's gonna rip the fish.
One hand again.
It's all the way through though. Got greedy. Oh wow. Oh, he got greedy. That was greedy.
guys, that's 3 sessions down. We got 2 more left, but before we continue, I actually want to break down a couple things for you guys who have never been to the Mentawais or surfed over reef or heavy waves like that want to go in the future. There's some crucial stuff, some tips I can share with you guys to help make it so much safer and so much easier. But first, before we get into that, we got to get some bread and biscuits. So I got to let you guys know that this video is going to be sponsored by the company Caldera Lab. This product line isn't about beauty. It's more like training, nutrition, and recovery, but for your skin. It's been specifically great for me because of the long hours that I spend in the sun. I'm always sweating, nonstop stoking, and these long travels can seriously take a toll on your skin. And being a man who cares about his health, those regular off-the-shelf products at your local drugstore are not cutting it, which is why I've been using Caldera Lab, created for the boys, so we can keep our skin looking and feeling healthier no matter how many miles of smiles we got on the face. So we got an easy 4-step routine with their light regimen. We got the clean slate, which mildly exfoliates your skin without drying it out. Then we got the eye serum, which has plant stem cell extracts helping to visibly improve common eye concerns like lines, circles, and puffiness. Then there's the Great, powered by 150 billion plant-based exosomes per application, allowing for 20 times improved absorption, proved to reduce wrinkles. And last, we have the Hydro Layer with 100 trillion exosomes in every jar. This lightweight moisturizer is clinically proven to deliver deep hydration, improve firmness, and visibly remove fine lines. So if you're interested, get yours at calderalab.com/Willax or enter code Willax at checkout for 20% off your first order. Now, to get back into the essential Mentawai Sharp Reef tips that I can give you guys. Some of these things have been engraved into my brain and have helped me avoid so many cuts and wounds, and I've literally been stitched. You don't need to do that. You can be a little bit more prepared when you go, and you can have actually a little bit more confidence when you do know these things. The first thing I want to break down is how to avoid the reef. My number one tip is weeks, if not months, before you go to a reef break, even if you're surfing sand, particularly focus on not kicking your feet to get to the surface. So I believe that reef, maybe because it's stationary and sand kind of can get moved around, reef has more of a big explosion when the wave hits initially, but then it disperses super quickly, whereas sand has less of an explosion on the impact, but then the turbulence afterwards is so much longer. So you can actually have a lot longer of pin downs on the sand versus the reef. And the number one thing that people do is they kick to try to get to the surface. I always try to starfish or pancake, whatever you call it, that just makes it so that your body is flush with the water. You have a big breath of air, so you actually will float. And while you're getting annihilated, just kind of try and reach for your leash. Find the ankle strap if you can while you're flipping and getting wrecked, and just tug on it until you can underwater feel that you're nearing the top of the leash where it's actually like the plug. Then you'll know that whenever the turbulence stops, you can do a couple pulls and it'll actually like pull you up while you're getting annihilated away from the reef, and then you come up to the water, and when you surface, you have your board. It is right next to you. You can get on it as soon as possible and always paddle for the shoulder, for the channel, only if the scenario allows for it. If there's somebody surfing that wave and you're trying to get to the shoulder and they're going to be matched up at the perfect time for where they're going to surf that, it is your duty, your honor to go into the heavier part of the wave and take it on the head. There's so much lineup etiquette that kind of gets thrown around when there's beach breaks and nobody really pays attention to it, but in the Ments, it is so crucial to not back paddle people because there's a lot of good surfers, and to just slowly work your way up the lineup, being super patient. Patience is crucial. There is set waves, sometimes 10 to 20 set waves, and you don't want to be someone paddling for the first wave or paddling underneath somebody to try to grab a little wave, and then you turn around after not getting into it and you take 10 on the head. So that is like 3 tips right there that is crucial, which really leads into a continuous tip of follow lineup etiquette. Be patient, pick the right wave, and if you know what you're doing, then you actually want the best wave, and the only way to do that is to slowly work your way up the lineup. Pay attention to the people who have already gone, who have already paddled for waves. If you've paddled for a wave already, I don't want to get into the depths, everybody knows lineup etiquette, but if you've paddled for a wave, then it's not your turn to go. Even if you don't get into the wave, even if you're out of position or whatever, do the right thing and go back another 10 people. And there's sometimes different parts of the wave. There is an upper peak and a lower peak, which are kind of separate, but everybody is not always as good as the best guy. So just because you're better doesn't mean you can just go deeper and keep taking waves, even if it seems like no one's in the right spot. You got to be a good guy out there. We're all trying to surf and we're all trying to have the best time of our lives. Some of those tips will actually help you with that. Another tip is saving your energy. It is nonstop firing all day, every day. So trying to figure out when the best tide and the best wind and the best amount of water or swell direction or anything for that spot, and then going out during that time, maybe even watching the boats and seeing how many people are on it. And even if it's not as good, timing your window to where there's not as many people will help you get more waves and surf better overall. And also, it's so sunny that all of the extremely good surfers that I've ever seen are usually always wearing a rash guard or a long sleeve and sunscreen. They're actually good surfers surfing all the time, and they know that the sun drains you of energy. So while you might want to just be trunking it in paradise, the rashes that you get from the wax on your stomach and the kook rib and then the chances of hitting the reef and getting cut up and then being held out for a couple more days after that because of injuries, and then being sunburnt. None of it's worth it if you're trying to surf a lot. Cover yourself up and take care of your body so you can maintain those energy levels and not get sun poisoning. Obviously, know your limits. Do not paddle out if you are just so confused. You don't know the wave. You've never surfed there before. It's a crowded lineup with super heavy slabbing waves. Be smart. You want to surf every single day, which kind of for me is a side tip, is like take a day off. If you have a 10 or 11 day boat trip, if you take that 5th or 6th day off and you time it to where it's really small, you're gonna have half mediocre sessions if you surf every day exhausted, versus taking that one full day off is gonna give you energy to have more paddle power for the rest of the trip. And you can even take 24 hours off and surf every single day. If you surf midday and then take off 24 and then don't surf till midday the next day, you technically took off a full day, and that will help you so much in the long run. Then we got some kick out tips. You surf a good wave, a lot of times you can't finish that end section because it just ends into dry reef, and then it'll put you inside onto shallow reef while you're trying to get back out. So that's the one unfortunate thing about reef breaks, or the Mentawais in particular, is you don't get that sand beach break end section that we love so much. And a lot of times you'll just kind of punch through the wave or somehow do something that doesn't get you on your board paddling. My biggest tip is kick out of the wave a touch early, onto your feet, sink down onto your board, and start paddling for the shoulder and paddling out as fast as you can to avoid taking a big one on the head, pause, and then also taking 6 more on the head. To kind of tap back into that, know your limits and know when to paddle out and how gnarly the waves are. If you go out when it's smaller and you go out on days where it's not that crowded and you kind of just investigate the reef and you surf it and you kind of get the shape dialed and the little imperfections or the boils and the spots where the takeoff is, if you get that dialed in when it's smaller before the big swell rolls in, you'll have a lot more confidence. And I feel like when I go back to waves that I've already surfed that I know, I can just surf like 10 times better. Surfing is mostly about confidence. So we got 2 more. The first one is so obvious. More board is so much better. Everybody wants to be on that short board, but honestly, if you have something with a little more float, with a little more paddle power that can get you into the waves earlier, you'll be so much better off, except for when the waves are really sucking and bottoming out and kind of hollow. Then I've been told by better, more advanced surfers that you want a smaller board to fit in the pocket better because it's like the water's just racing up. But honestly, if you're at that level, I don't even know why you're watching me, a mid-grade surfer, give you tips about surfing reef breaks. That's more for beginners, just to kind of look into the topic of surfing a shorter board when the waves are really like just girty and pulling up on the reef, and just there's that small little section that you have to be in. And the last one I would say is a kind of a side tip, is avoid the high-end popular name brand waves. If you go to the 2nd or the 3rd or even the 4th best wave, it might be a little bit smaller, but it's going to be so good. It's going to be way less crowded, and there's not going to be 6 boats with 12 people in the water every day, all day, making it so much harder. So we got 2 more banger sessions here. One from one of my favorite waves that we actually scored the past trip like crazy. And then, yeah, another secondary left to wrap it up. We've been just surrounded by goofy footers. The Mentawais are the land of the lefts. And I guess if you guys just have enjoyed any of these videos, please drop a thumbs up, leave a comment, make sure to subscribe. All of that stuff helps support me so much, and we will see you in one of the heavier edits that we have left. Probably surfing some of the gnarliest waves of my life. Super grateful for Wildcat. Super grateful for you guys watching. Enjoy. boys are doing better than I am, huh? Woo! Look at the life on it. The fact that it made it over all those rocks to where it is right now. Please be okay. Oh no. One, two. Just one, two? Dude, what? Bro, how is that possible? And it made it over all those rocks? Algorithm for the dream, bro.
T-cap.
That boy Brian knows how to glass. Oh my God. You're crazy, we're good. I'll tell you what, the kind, bro. I was claiming it. They ain't the kind.
Wow. Algorithm.
Dude, I'm claiming I was already out there on the shortboard, but I felt like I needed to step up for some reason right now, even though it's half the size as the other day, maybe a third. It's just so much more difficult to get into the wave for some reason. And I was getting wrecked, and I probably would have stayed getting wrecked just out of the fact I'm already out there with the wrong board, but I needed to step up, so maybe that had to happen. Leash break, so that even though it takes a while, I'm a big believer in the fact that you will be where you're supposed to be because you're there, especially if you realize that and you know that it's always for the best. So we're gonna grab the step up, which hasn't been getting enough use anyways. The wind just went offshore, the sun just started poking out. Huge shout out to Algorithm. If you guys don't know, that's what I've been riding. They've been hooking it up with the most insane custom shaped boards for like 2 years now. I never really promote it or let you guys know, but they give you guys like 50 bucks off if you want a custom order. Like the optimizer, but I do a couple things different. I pull the tail in, I like the pintail, and just a little bit different shape. Algorithm for the dream. Go show them some love, hit them on the gram, spam their account, honestly. Just go comment on whatever, anything that we've done. Hopefully we got a collab post up by the time this drops. And yeah, if you're looking to get a custom board from a legendary shaper, hit up Algorithm. I'll leave the link. And yeah, support the boys who support the boys. We're back out there.
Can't believe he's walking on that.
What happened?
My leash snapped. I snapped in half. Did you see how wrecked I got a couple times?
Just right on the head.
How the boys doing?
We're doing great. This is paradise.
Little rain, a lot of rain, now a lot of sun.
Now it's offshore. Couple bugs, huh?
I've circled the island 3 times already.
Did you?
Yeah.
Lap numero cuatro? Oh God, it's all we got. Woo!
Fucking guy. Literally leaving his engine on, smoking out all the fish, putting mad gas in my face. I told him 100 times. Won't listen.
You almost lost him.
Okay. Thank you. I'll give you style. Like this. Oh yeah.
What'd you say, Ryan?
I said I just had the best day. Like I don't care what we do.
Dude, Ryan was chirping dudes out there.
I did. Dude, that guy fucking fake poked me.
That guy with the big beard.
Yeah.
He paddled right
Chirping, dude. I had to burn your homie.